All right, everybody, so we're back with our Bio 107 lab. Keep in mind that we have open office hours via Zoom on Tuesdays from 11 to noon. And this lab today is going to be pretty self-explanatory. So it's another one of our virtual labs. So hopefully you guys don't have any issues doing this depending on your internet connection. Now I know that Parkland has been experiencing some technical difficulties, and so hopefully they've had it resolved by this point in time, but I'm not sure what the status is as of this moment that you guys are viewing this. So let's go ahead and get started. I just wanted to remind you all of things that are due. So reminder, the Stickleback Fish virtual lab is due today. Remember, that was your virtual lab that was done online in the virtual laboratory where you can look at the fish dissection and just follow through that lab and fill out your lab sheet and submit that via Dropbox or email. We also have 2 quizzes this week. Now remember, I've extended the deadline for these 2 quizzes because it took us 4 lecture sessions to get through both Module 11 and Module 12. And so now I've extended both 11 and 12 to be due on April 30th. That's a Thursday. So it's not due on Tuesday, April 28th today, like we normally have them. I've extended the deadline just to give you guys a few extra days. And remember, they're both open book, 20-minute timeline. If you have any issues taking the quiz, just shoot me an email and I'll help you as best as I can. All right, so just a reminder for new assignments that are going to be due about a week from today. These assignments, most of them, are going to be due Tuesday, May 5th. So right now we're starting the Human Evolution Lab. So that's lab number 13. So we're going to be doing that today. And then also the lab 13 quiz, or I'm sorry, the module 13 quiz is also going to be due on May 5th. And so both the lab and the quiz will be due 1 week from today on May 5th. Now we also have our module 14. So module 13 and 14 are very similar. And so this is going to be a take-home quiz or module quiz, I suppose. So this is going to be due May 17th. So same kind of deal, just open book quizzes. I guess the reason that it's listed as a take-home quiz is in the past when you all were meeting in person, this would have been one of the open book quizzes, but since that is been the rest of our semester, it's pretty much going to be the same. So module 13 quiz due May 5th, module 14 quiz due May 7th. Okay, so I also have included here a last minute extra credit assignment if you all are interested, since I know that the last planetarium extra credit assignment was canceled. I'm going to substitute it with a bonus essay. And so this is going to be a 1-page essay, and I'll talk more about this extra credit opportunity on the next slide. So if you're interested in 5 extra points, this would be one of them. Keep in mind you already had 3 extra credit opportunities, each for 5 points. We had a Hardy-Weinberg, Mendel Genetics Punnett Square extra credit assignment that was due worth 5 points, like way back in like module 4 or 5. And then also there were 2 available planetarium visits. So if you took advantage of that, you had already turned those in. So the 3rd planetarium visit got canceled. So now I'm offering an essay. So that would equal 20 bonus points over the course of the semester that you were able to acquire if you chose to take part in them. So I'm throwing this off. So if you're teetering on the edge of an A or B or a B or a C or whatever, you might want to consider doing this essay for some extra credit points. Okay, so, sorry, this got cut off a little bit through my video here. But basically, the extra credit points will be available under the Module 13 content in your Cobra. So it's going to be first and foremost worth 5 points, and then second, you're going to be having to read a chapter under Module 13. And then you're going to have to write a 1-page paper on this topic. So there's going to be a few prompts I want you to include in your 1-page essay. So the first is answering the question, who was the first person, after you read the chapter that is provided under Module 13. I want you to make sure you use your own words and write it in a way that shows you actually read and understand what Dr. Dawkins' answer is. And then secondly here, I want you to critique the essay. I want you to tell me if you understood the answer or not. I want you to let me know if you found it informative, or did you find it condescending? Did you enjoy reading it? Were you bored reading it? Could you care less reading it? Just let me know. Mostly I just want you to let me know your thoughts. So those 3 prompts here in a 1-page format. You don't have to do any works cited because this is just a response paper to that chapter that you read. So consider doing this bonus if you're interested, and hopefully you all turn it in and get some extra credit points. Okay, so today we're going to be doing the Human Evolution Lab. This is Lab 13. And so there's a website that is provided in the lab that I'm providing you. Now just remember, I've included in my email and on Cobra the link for the Human Evolution Lab. It is Human Evolution Lab number 2. It is not the one in your packet because that one is outdated. They have changed the website for our virtual lab here today, so make sure you're using the correct lab image or lab packet that I'm providing you, the lab pages. Okay, so I'm providing that. Make sure you're using the right one. So we're going to go to the Smithsonian Institute website, and that's where we're going to do our Human Evolution Lab today. So there's a few things I want you all to read and click through, and so they're all listed in your lab sheets for this week. So it is a virtual lab. You don't have to do anything in person or take photos or cut out communicules or anything like that. But there are 3 parts for this virtual lab. So part A is we're going to be looking at human evolution evidence, and there's going to be 2 sections under that part. We're going to be looking at different behaviors that our human ancestors have, and then we're also going to be identifying fossils, and you're going to be doing that through the interactive fossil lab. Okay, you're also going to be looking at part B here, which is going to have some human characteristics, and then part C talks about what it means to be human. So for our part A, this is our human evolution evidence, and so along the top prompt here, let's see if I can get my mouse going right here. So the second link here up at the top where you can see my cursor underlining here, this maroon section, this is going to be the first part that we're going to be looking at. So this is the first little section that you can click on, and this is going to be all about human evolution evidence. So you're going to be looking at different behaviors and picking them and writing a little bit about those behaviors that you've chosen. And you're also going to be looking at fossils. So there's another link here about the interactive fossil identification, and so make sure you follow along in your lab sheets. There are 4 fossils that you need to identify based on evidence, and then you'll have to write down in your lab sheets which fossils were which. So that is our part A. Now for part B here, this is the purple section here that I'm circling with my cursor. We're going to be looking at human characteristics. So you're going to be picking a few human characteristics and discussing those particular characteristics in your lab sheet, and you'll be clicking through a few of them and doing a little bit of exploring in this particular section as well, and writing down your answers. Feel free to type out your answers on the Word document and submit them into Dropbox. That way, if you prefer to handwrite them, That's fine. It's not my preference because sometimes it takes me a little longer to read through them, and it's a little bit easier for me to read them if they've been submitted on Dropbox. So make sure you get those turned in. And then lastly here, what does it mean to be human? So just the general website, you can click right on this title here and explore a few other sections. It's going to ask you to find something else that you found interesting and write more about it. And so obviously this lab is different now that I provided than what was in your lab packet that you had purchased in the bookstore. And I'll make sure to replace all of the labs with the correct version. But other than that, it's more of a writing assignment and just doing a little bit of research on this particular Smithsonian Institute website. So it shouldn't take you too long. I was able to get through it in about 30 minutes or so. And so that is what we're doing for our lab today. This is my last slide here, so it's pretty quick and easy. And hopefully you guys don't have any issues, but if you do, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.